Welcome back to Night Talk. Get to the point. We're talking about police forces, communities of color. How do we get along in these urban environments in modern day America? Folks, let me go ahead and put this out there, because this stop and frisk thing goes back to the initial question I asked you, Chief, and I'm going to throw this out to everybody. There's a rhetorical way to do this, talking and understanding each other better and possibly better training, etc. And then there's real things. For example, such as Dr. Duck brought up. For communities of color, stop and frisk is a very problematic thing. And we have two police officers saying it's absolutely necessary, and you have two others up here saying that this is very problematic for the community. How do you get past that bridge? Is it just a matter of, hey, listen, we're going to have to deal with this in modern day America, because if that's the case, then we seem to be eroding away some of that innocent until proven guilty that all American citizens are supposed to be afforded. And we're still talking about citizens here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'd love to jump on this one. Stop and frisk, we could talk about it on two levels, and that's what Professor Rogers was referring to. You can have stop and frisk, the tool for a police officer on the street who's confronting a person who we believe has reasonable suspicion to be armed and is in possession of a weapon, okay? That's a critical tool to keep the police, the community safe, and we can't reduce the violent crime without it. But then there's stop and frisk, a crime control policy that executives say we're going to suppress crime by doing lots of stops and frisk. When you do the latter, you are going to drive a disparate impact, particularly when officers have bias, conscious or unbiased. Conscious or unconscious. However, if you take away the tool of stop and frisk, you take away a critical tool that officers simply have to have in order to be able to protect themselves and protect the community.
But this seems black or white, right? It doesn't seem like there's any wiggle room. But even with what you just explained, where's the wiggle room to have that policy and not have it abused against a bunch of 17-year-old kids walking through East Liberty at 10 o'clock at night?
I thought I mentioned the supervisors.
Well, you did mention the supervisors, and I will also go back to FOP, and I will go back to the NYPD. That when these real issues of some problematic relationships between communities of color and police forces came up, we saw a whole police force turn their back on their mayor. We saw the whole FOP and the head of the FOP come after Chief McLay over a sign. We've seen this hit national news. So if you're going to have that type of animus going on over something that you're saying the supervisors should do, how in the world do you resolve it? We've got 30 seconds. I know we can sit here for 30 minutes on that, but...
Note rapidly when you see that the supervisors did not turn their backs on the mayor. That's important.
Supervisors are the ones at the desks, and the officers that turn their back are the ones with the guns.
Sergeants and
that's what the community would say.
Sergeants and above did not turn their backs. I mean, you're talking a situation where if you feel that somebody's against you, and I can speak for the police in this area, when they do something, the prosecutor's normally against them, the defense counsel is against them, internal affairs is against them. They feel they have to bond together. Now you're trying to break that bond without having a quid pro quo. It's going to be very hard to do.
Yeah, and when we have you have a policy of the use of stop and frisk systematically, you're going to have disparity. But don't take away the tool that keeps them from getting killed.
It seems like everybody's talking about not breaking that bond, but the community can actually say the same thing. When we come back, one more segment.